when that happens, that there's something really underlining and something more that can be looked at. Today, I really wanted to focus on understanding the underlining truth to the killers of relationships. A lot of the times we have this belief that we think maybe it's a financial issue, and we believe that because of a money trouble we had a hard time, being on the same page. Or maybe there's a belief that that they were cheating on you, or maybe they were actually cheating on you. There's a lot of reasons that a relationship ends, but I'm talking about the original birthplace of a relationship before it hits the symptoms. When we start a relationship, a lot of the times we're very excited and we're showing up a little bit differently than maybe our true intentional self. And as the relationship goes, insecurities start to pop up. Now, this isn't always on the onus of you. It could be somebody else. Maybe you thought somebody was someone, and then all of a sudden they started to change, or the guards came down and you learned more about them. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a realization that a relationship changes. But in change, there's an innate behavior of insecurity that pops up because we think we know and we think we can depend on it, and then all of a sudden it shows up slightly different. We don't know what to think, and that will trigger some of our insecurities and make us feel like we're kind of misconnecting or disconnected. And it's really important for us to recognize when that happens that there's something really underlining and something more that can be looked at. So if you can think back into a relationship you've had where you felt like you weren't being your authentic self, or there was maybe someone you really, really liked and you were fearful of them knowing certain elements of yourself, so you would withhold that information or experience or expression. Unfortunately, the other person feels that experience in the relationship. They feel the sense of withhold. And that withholding kind of leaves like a disconnection in the relationship. Now, it could also be the other direction. Obviously, the other person may not be showing up fully authentically to who they are, and you may be feeling that disconnect, which will again put a giant hole in your relationship. Now, if you ignore it over time, thinking eventually you'll get comfortable with each other, eventually you'll start having healthier conversations, and you start to kind of lean on the relationship too much, it can start to corrode the trust of a relationship. And this insecurity can literally be the death of that relationship. Now, when I'm talking about insecurity, again, I'm talking about just the behavior of that it's being unwilling to really be vulnerable in your relationship and let someone know how you're feeling, what you're thinking, asking questions that help you understand somebody else's perspective, getting a chance to really create an open experience in the relationship. It really is important for us to take the time to invest in each other and get a chance to really understand somebody else's perspective, so we can kind of get rid of the idea that there is something that you should be insecure about. Unfortunately, if we ignore insecurities, we start creating stories of anxiety that will actually expand into other relationships, and it can start spinning depression and fear of commitment. So it's really important for us to assess and recognize and take ownership of our insecurities and look for those opportunities to kind of change the belief system around what you think you're experiencing. Getting really a cool chance to grow through some of these faulty belief systems that you have invested in and change your reality. Change in a natural way, a healthy understanding of who you are and who you are not. It is really essential for us to get a chance to be mirrored back with someone else so that we know that we're seen and understood. But not always are all relationships created equal, and sometimes there will be unsafe experiences. So you really have to know that element, and insecurity comes from not having healthy discernment in knowing yourself versus someone else. So that's why it's really essential that when you start having or start dating or start connecting again in different relationships, that you give yourself the time you need in order to kind of really adjust and understand exactly who you are before you invest in trying to, put yourself out there on an extreme level. This being said, it is important for us to understand that we are connected people and we need relationships. We need a sense of community and family, a sense of love. And it comes from those experiences. So this opportunity for you to go out and play with it and experience it, if you can have a playful perspective and share from a more vulnerable space with actions over time, knowing that, that this person's reliable, to be vulnerable with them will help build your confidence. So if you're coming from a state where you're already in anxiety about relationships, it will take you more time to kind of open up. But knowing that about yourself actually gives you some clarity to understand who to trust and who not to trust. So I hope that helps a little bit, and I will see you guys next week.